you check the children? You're a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
And then I have this other film that I'm trying to get off the ground, which if you follow me on social media,
Wait, let me see if I remember.
about it.
I'm trying to see how sticky the title is, okay? Because I was thinking about this earlier today.
Okay.
The House on Port Robinson Road?
That's it.
Nice. Okay.
That's it. That's it.
Because that's the thing. I wanted to ask you, is that... So you're very mood and atmosphere. I know you are going to stick out no matter what kind of film you make, but specifically when you go to this genre, I think you're gonna be very, very successful in what you do. My question is the title. Is that the final title? Do you think it appropriately gets across everything that you're going for when it comes to mood and atmosphere?
Yes, I think it does. I think initially when I first, again, I mean, it's a project I began writing 20-something years ago. It's inspired by true events from my second year of college from November 2000. And for many, many, many years, the title of the story, of the script, was just Port Robinson Road. That was the actual name of the street where this house was. It's no longer there. It burned to the ground 23 years ago. But for many years, it was just Port Robinson Road. And when I finally went back to the script about 6 months ago, and finally was able to complete the screenplay, it dawned on me that Port Robinson Road wasn't working in the ways that I thought it should have, or in the ways that I thought it was going to for me. It needed something a bit extra.
Okay.
And so adding the house on Port Robinson Road immediately tells you, for me, that obviously there is a house involved, right? And where it is on Port Robinson Road. But because I haven't revealed a lot of information out there yet about the film and the story, and I'm playing it a bit close to the vest, it's understandable why some people might see that and go, I wonder what that's about. You know what I mean? That could be this, or it could be that. It could be a drama. It could be this. It could be, and there is a dramatic component to the piece. And so, for me, it was all about, there's a rhythm to the title as well. The House on Port Robinson Road. There's got a rhythmic rhythm to it. And, in the same veins of, The Haunting of Hill House, or the this of that, bum, bada, bum, bum, bum.
Sure.
And so for me, because it's a personal piece as well, it's not a story, it's based on or inspired by true events. There's obviously it's a personal thing, and that's sort of why I decided to go with that title. And the house plays a central role, obviously, in the film. And Port Robinson Road is the street that it is on, and so it connects to the story very well. And it's a psychological, elevated horror drama. is what it is. So it's not a slasher movie, but it is a psychological horror film with a very strong philosophical component to it. And I don't think it's quite something that's been done in this sort of way, and I don't mean that in a pretentious way. I mean I just mean that in sort of the combining a couple of different genres to create this story is interesting. I'm very proud of it, actually. It's to have it completed is, I mean, after 20 years, people have asked me, why did it take so long to complete it? And I said, well, when I first began writing it in 2005, I was smart enough to know what it needed, but I wasn't yet wise enough to be able to implement it. Life had to happen first, and you had to go through love and loss, and, my parents have died, and, all these things, and you have to grow up, to become an adult. And I finally knew what the nucleus and the heart of the story is, because when I sat down to finish it, I asked myself, well, what the hell is this really about? Mm-hmm. Yes, it's scary and spooky. We got this, but what is it about? You know what I mean? And that's how I was able to finally complete it. So, The House on Port Robinson Road.
So I've trapped you a little bit in one of my webs that I love to do every now and again. Just like
okay.
So I'm going to corner you with a request. If you had to utilize your talent as a voice actor,
yes,
and get across the mood and atmosphere and story of because let me be very honest with you. We've seen titles similar to this before, but it's all in the presentation, right? So
correct.
The House on Port Robinson Road could be really fucking cool if it's in the delivery of the title at the end of the trailer. And so my question is, how would you deliver the title vocally in a trailer to get across the mood that you are going for with The House on Port Robinson Road? It's not too spoilery to ask you to do that, would it be?
No. It wouldn't be trailer voice.
Right.
It wouldn't be horror slasher. You know what I mean? Like real deep. It would just be
my arcade brain is going to The House of the Dead, from way back in the day.
No,
I know it's not what you're going for, but like
more,
that kind of thing, set the tone.
So I've been doing so over the last, and we'll get to Freddy, folks. Don't worry.
Yes.
We'll get to Freddy. There's people tuning out right now.
No, I think
Dave.
Everyone's interested in this. Look at it.
I'm glad they are, because it's an original horror film based on true events from my second year of college. It is it's involves the paranormal, and you're like, oh, paranormal based on true events, really? Yeah. And it's like I said, a psychological elevated horror drama. And so the script is done. It's about 107 pages, and I would say, over the last several months, obviously the script is done. I have a lookbook. We're building promotional material for our pitch, package and all that kind of stuff. And so I've written a lot of things down, but I would say that, let me just see if I can find something here that I could read to you, if you would humor me. Are you still there?
Yeah, no, I'm listening. Trust me, I'm listening.
Okay. If you could humor me,
yes, sir.
It would be something like, where's my, because I have been recording voiceover.
Get out of town, you.
For a few videos for my pitch package.
Okay, cool.
And so it's kind of a coincidence that you've, asked me about this, so I don't have to now.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah. So, but I'm prepared, unknowingly, that you were going to ask me this.
I'll clip this so you can put it on your channel.
There you go. So I'm not going to read the whole thing because that would give spoilers away. But I can read.
Listen, it's just you and me here. No one else.
That's true.
No one else is listening. Just go for it.
That's a fair point. So here's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. No, but it's not Grindhouse. It's not the house on Port Robinson. It's not like that. It's not like that. I have a concept poster that I released a couple of months ago. I think it was. I've shared it a couple of times.
Do you want me to allow you to share screen to pull it up, or do you want me to pull it up?
Sure. Yeah, I can. If you want to.
Yeah. I just clicked multiple participants can share, so you should be able to share now.
Great. So let me just go and get it, and I will. Hang on a sec.
No worries.
I appreciate you allowing me to.
I hope you don't.
share this.
I hope you're not, offended by me just kind of going into this. I'm just very curious because I love and know what you can do as a filmmaker, and so I'm very curious. Someone today who was with me, Fuego was with me today. He's like, what? He actually asked. He's like, what is Dave working on now? Because I brought up this whole thing that I mentioned to you before the stream, which I guess I can talk about in just a second, but let's focus on your film first. And so Fuego asked, what is he working on? And so I was like, oh, it's his own film that he just finished because he needed to, he needed more lived experience. And so I'm very curious about it. And so I imagine I'm not the only one. And if I am, fuck him,
Fuck them. We'll do it live. No, I don't. Yeah, exactly. Well, and because it's a personal piece and there's not a lot of, it already exists. Oh, it does.
Wait, there's a movie called that?
No, I thought I'm saving something and it went bloom. You already have it on your desktop. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I hope you grabbed the trademark for the title or whatever.
Yeah. That's all. Let me just, fuck off. Get out of here. I have so many windows open. Just 1 second. Let me just close that down.
No worries.
All right. So let me open this up and then now I'll share the screen for this. Okay. So let me go back over to Zoom. So this is a concept poster. It may or may not end up being the official poster. I would be okay if it was. But of course, I don't know where financing is going to come from and how this, we're still in very early development. So whether or not this will end up being the official poster, I don't know. But certainly I created it with that intention. If it could very well be. But of course, it's in, the lookbook and it's part of the pitch package again for tone and that kind of stuff. So let me share my screen. I will share this. Okay, now can people see that?
Start screen sharing, double click to enter full screen mode. Oh, there we go. Yep, I got it.
You can see it?
Yep. That's pretty, dude. Very Victorian.
Thank you. So this is, I
dig that logo for the title. Sorry, I'm just,
thank you.
It's hitting me like as I'm taking it in, so forgive me. Go ahead.
Amazing. No, that's okay. So again, my goal I'm the mood and atmosphere guy, and I wanted to create something that obviously conveyed that, but there's purpose and intent to this poster. So obviously we have this face profile woman in like these 19th century, clothing. There's a bit of something going on with her body. Who is she? Why is she looking down? What's her story? Who is this woman? That's the whole point is I want people to like, interesting. You know what I mean? You look at this could be something, it could be a drama, it could be something that Robert Eggers is doing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's got that A24 kind of vibe to it. That's intentional. Because the piece, although it is a, paranormal film dealing with college age characters, this is not archetypal. This isn't a slasher film. This isn't,
that is not what this is giving. I got to be honest.
No. Yeah. No, this is more mature. This is, again, like I've said, a psychological elevated horror drama. And there's lots of horror movies out there with abandoned farmhouses.
Elevated moniker, right?
I know, but people can go fuck themselves. Anyway, so it's like, I say that, but listen, it's not gonna, but anyway.
No, I'm clipping that. You're done.
Oh, I'm done. It's over. It's over.
Canceled.
Canceled. So there's lots of horror movies out there that are, that deal with abandoned farmhouses, and there's lots of horror movies that deal with college-age characters, but they tend to lean, most of the time, they lean more into the slashery, tropey, jump scary kind of stuff. That's not what this is. This is mood,
I have an idea for
atmosphere,
you.
Suspense. And so, right.
That's what mine
And so, anyway, so the woman is important, obviously. Who she is, what she is, the fact that she's this. It's all these whites and grays and darks and blacks is intentional, and the title being in red and having it pop like that against the gray white background is obviously intentional. Again, that's the horror part of this. The red text popping there is the horror element to this. The title at the top says "Inspired by True Events." Which obviously always gets everybody intrigued. I say inspired by, it's not based on, because as you know, as any filmmaker knows, adapting a true story for the screen, you do have to take some creative liberties in order to tell the story correctly. You have to do that. Otherwise I would just make a documentary. So, there are things that happen in the story that did really happen. And there's lots of things in there that are absolutely true, but I felt it was best to market this as inspired by true events, which it absolutely is. And then at the bottom is probably the most intriguing part of the poster, which says "Another dimension of consciousness awaits." And that right there is sort of the more elevated part of the poster. And so it's like, oh, this is what's this about? What is this? Like that. I'm really like, if you saw this in your local AMC at the end of the hallway, it would draw you over to it. I mean, you would see it at the other end of the hall, and you'd see this white face at the other end of the hall. You'd be like, what the hell is that? You'd walk over to it, like, what is this? This is the house on Port Robinson Road. Another dimension of consciousness awaits. Fascinating. So again, the entire purpose of the poster was to create intrigue and mystery, maturity, and to live in that realm of, your A24-ish kind of stories. I don't want to, make it look like it's a slasher film, right? So anyway, yeah. So pretty cool stuff. I'll just stop sharing that for right now.
Yeah.
And so, so I've been dealing with that, and there's a whole lookbook. I'd love to show everybody the lookbook, but it's a little spoilery, so not going to do that. But I did send it off to a trusted friend who works at a level where they see many studio lookbooks, and their feedback was, this is great. It is on par with many that I see, if not exceeds a lot of them. So that was great feedback for the lookbook. If you're watching, I appreciate that very much. They may not be watching, but if they ever do. And so,
can I just clarify real quick? Are you talking about a lookbook or a pitch deck?
Lookbook.
So
lookbooks
as I understand it, the lookbook for us was when I basically, grabbed a bunch of images that kind of represented the look we were going for in the film. That was more for the cinematographer, as opposed to a pitch deck, which we put together the concept of the film, the look we're going for, all of that stuff, all encompassing. That's what we're using to pitch. So that's what I'm just trying to see which one.
No, fair enough. So this is a bit of a hybrid, to be fair.
Okay.
Lookbooks are exactly what you've said. Pitch decks tend to have, they don't necessarily have to, but they can tend to have, your budget breakdown, your marketing, strategies, it's really involved,
release
right?
strategy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So all that kind of stuff. I don't have that yet.
Okay.
So I'm calling it a lookbook, but it's more of a lookbook on steroids.
Gotcha.
So it's got
one.
Yeah, it's got, the cinematography, it's got my vision breakdown, the tone, the mood board, it's got concept pieces. Like it's a bit more than just a lookbook. But I don't want to quite call it a pitch deck yet, because I want to have, I want to have a little more in there if I'm going to call it that. But you could call it that. You absolutely could pitch with this lookbook.
Nice.
And so that's done as well, which is exciting. And so to answer your question from earlier, as people are like, is this Freddie or what's going on? I thought I was tuning in for Freddie. One of the things
They're getting
that
Freddie right now. Freddie's talking.
they are. I'm talking.
What more do they want? Yes, you just throwing a laugh every now and again.
I just throw a laugh every now and then. I'm good.
I'm satisfied.
Tired. So I
love that you have lines from our movie that you quote to be Freddie. Like, that's fucking cool to me. You don't go to the lines from the movies. You go to the lines from our movie.
Why not? So I'm and I have a few videos. If you follow me on social media, you've probably seen a couple little concept pieces, and they're just, I just do them and put them out there to just keep the, oh, what's this? This is interesting. What's this? To keep the intrigue out there. And when you're an indie filmmaker, you need to keep the intrigue out there. You need to keep the buzz out there. Just like, oh, Dave's working on something. He's cooking over there. What the fuck is he cooking over there? You know what I mean? And so I like to kind of keep the pilot light on. So one of the last sentences here that I will read to you. I don't know if I should read that part. I'll just say that how I would imagine a trailer voice to be, if there was a trailer voice for something like this, it would be more like, the house on Port Robinson Road. Something like that. A nice dramatic pause after house. The house on Port Robinson Road. Okay. Just something like, oh, interesting. There's a mystery, but there's an eeriness behind it. There's a mystique behind it.
Enigmatic.
There's like, ooh, yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's, again, it is a horror movie, of course, and it's got all the classic Dave McRae mood, atmosphere, and scares and all that kind of stuff. But it's more than just that. It's not about demons and walls bleeding and crazy voice. It's not The Conjuring. It's more than that. It's a character-driven film. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And so I'm very excited about it. And how it will be financed yet, I don't really know. I did do a preliminary budget breakdown. It's probably going to be in the $2 to $3 million range, probably, is what you're looking at, lower end. Could I crowdfund that? Maybe over 10 years. No, but it's, people have often asked, are you just going to crowdfund it? I'm like, well, maybe a portion of it. I don't know where the funds are going to come from yet. When you're an indie filmmaker, they tend to come from multiple places. So it could be a bit of crowdfunding. It could have,
how much? Did you say 2?
A preliminary budget breakdown. Again, this is preliminary, so these aren't actuals, right? These are just based on, SAG-AFTRA rates, actor rates. It's based on this 6-week shoot, like all that. Like I just did a big,
such a pain in the ass. Oh my God, sorry.
Yeah, well, I know, and so I did, but I wanted to go full out, mm-hmm. right? And of course, people have asked, are you going to shoot in an abandoned house? Because the house that this is based on is gone, burned to the ground. And I said, maybe. I said, if it was to match my vision, but at the same time, health and safety is very important. And so just because you have an abandoned house doesn't mean you can shoot in an abandoned house, because it's not set up for, camera gear and if the floors are, it's a whole thing. And so likely to rebuild the house is likely potentially something that may need to be done. And whether that's done on a soundstage or you build the facade or you find, it's a whole thing. It's a big deal. So doing a lot of the preliminaries in how much all this would cost and crew and insurance and post and all this kind of stuff. It worked out to about between 2.5, 3 million, preliminary.
Damn. And
so that could come down. That could go up a little bit. I don't think it would go up much more than that. It's a ballpark, right? It's like, if we're, it is full on vision in the script, right? Like what this would be. There's a thunderstorm, right? There's, there's water, you know what I mean? That goes up, there's lots of things. So, it's one of those things where it's not, it's a much larger endeavor than the Billy films. It's a big project, but I think it's a great story. Obviously I'm a bit biased, but I think it's a great story, and it's one that might move a lot of people too. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's very easy to see with Billy, or using Billy as a model for the kind of work that you and Bruce can do. Because shout out to Bruce Dale, obviously you're
for sure,
filmmaker. Now, as I understand it, this is something that you'd be doing solo, but I do want to shout him out because he obviously helped with both Billies, and you guys did those together.
Of course, he co-wrote it, co-produced it, co-directed it. Yeah, Bruce would. This is The House on Port Robinson Road is a film that I would direct myself, but Bruce would likely come on as a producer.
Cool. So no, I mean, knowing what you guys can do based on Billy, it's very evident that a A24 like pivot would be very easy for you guys to accomplish. And it to me, you being the mood and atmosphere guy, it actually makes a lot of sense. I would see you behind the helm of honestly, if someone had said, hey, what kind of film do you think Dave McRae would really kind of excel at making? Truly, this is something that would have probably occurred to me. Like
it just excites me. It just yes, it's based on a true story of, or inspired, by a true story, of course. And so I have a personal attachment to it, which can be a good thing and a bad thing.
But what my point is, slasher doesn't immediately jump to mind when I think of what Dave McRae would do if he had his druthers. A24 type stuff is. So, and that's meant to be more of a compliment in that you have such a clear and obvious sort of style and auteur love for film that I feel like that's sort of the A24s, the neons, that's kind of where you would, that's the stream that you would swim very comfortably in.
Yeah, and it's not that I would never do a slasher. I mean, if somebody wanted to pay me, and love
never.
The script,
I don't think anyone should.
I mean? No, exactly. But no, this is definitely not that. And well, I can read. You know what? I can read something that's already out on social media.
There you go.
For those of you that may want to know a bit more about it, let me just read this, and then. Because I forgot I had posted this back in April.
While you pull it up, let me just give a couple quick shout outs in the chat, just real quick. Movies and Beyond in the chat, what's going on? Jonkler in the chat, what's up? Tyler Adams, Hugh, I'm just going to read your first name. The Wendy Pack, Shot by Shot, Robert the Wolfman, as you mentioned earlier. That sounded scary. Lots of people in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us, you guys. Back to you, Dave.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, let me just share this. So this is from my Instagram. I posted this back in April, but it's not a synopsis, but it's just kind of, it gives a little, a bit of a tease of what the film is kind of about. Here we go. Share this. Let me know when you can see it.
Started screen sharing. It's working. There it is. Got it.
There it is.
Ooh, fancy.
Inspired by true events, another dimension of consciousness awaits. The House on Port Robinson Road is a slow burn, elevated horror film about a group of college friends who investigate an abandoned farmhouse rumored to be haunted. What begins as a search for answers becomes something far deeper, an experience that challenges their understanding of life, death, and the boundaries between worlds. Some carry hidden grief, others are driven by curiosity, but each is drawn into a mystery that feels bigger than them all. Set in the fall of 2000, the story weaves a chilling mood and atmosphere with emotional and philosophical depth as a shockingly terrifying encounter sets their journey in motion. It explores how certain places can awaken forces beyond our understanding and how confronting those forces can shape who we are. At its core, it's a story about identity, loss, grief, and the quiet strength it takes to keep going.
There you go. I mean, that's definitely.
And then when you look at the poster again,
yeah,
you kind of go, oh, the house on Port Robinson Road.
No, I think you're definitely building the right pitch for it. For
Thank
sure.
you. I appreciate that. And I do have an official synopsis, which is even juicier than that, but it's in the lookbook and I can't share that yet.
Right,
so.
right. Fair enough. I get it. Like as someone that's finishing his second pitch deck currently of projects that they're working on, like I understand the effort it takes to do these correctly, and you seem to be headed that direction for sure.
First time or you have one chance to give make a first impression. And so I appreciate you allowing me to share that with your viewers, because there's so little I can share at the moment. So it's fun to share it and get the word out. I don't know where it's going to go yet. Not sure where the funds are going to come from, or if it even is going to cost, $3 million. Maybe not. Maybe once I get a line producer in there and and everybody goes through the script, we're like, no, you know what? We can do this for 1.8. You know what I mean? Who knows? Right. But it definitely is something I'm very passionate about. It means a lot to me. And it was, it's about ghosts. Sure. But it's not just about that. And so it's like how, Rocky's a boxing movie, sure, but it's not just about boxing. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I gotcha. All right. Well, cool, guys. So keep your eyes out for updates on, the house on Port Robinson Road. And
there you go. Since, we're tooting our own horns, I'll just share this. I'll share this. So I sent this is about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Okay. I sent the first page of the house on Port Robinson Road to an industry friend here, based in Toronto, and I sent it to him. I just said, just read this, tell me what you think, and I will share the. Do I have ability to share again? Oh yeah, I do. I will share what he said.
Okay.
This is what he said. All right, here we go. Let me know when you can see it.
Double click to enter full screen. Okay. Yep, got it.
Up there. He says, "Hey, Dave, brutal, visceral, and masterfully sets the tone for what's to come. The intensity is shocking, pure dread, delivered with precision and anchored by one unforgettable image. The audience won't know exactly what they've seen, but they'll feel it. Don't change a thing, Dave. It's cinematic and searing. If the rest of the script is even half as strong as this opening, it's going to be something special."
Nice. Heck yeah.
Which was really, he's worked in the industry a long time. I trust him, and I felt good about the first page. I mean, I feel fantastic about the whole thing, but I just didn't. I just wanted to, get his thoughts on this opening, and that's what he sent back to me. And if he didn't like it, and if he thought it needed improving, he would tell me. And so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
So it was just one page, so it's the first minute of the movie.
Well, okay, so yes, there's the golden rule of a minute a page, right?
When you're going for mood and atmosphere, though, one page can equal 2
one
to
page
3.
could be 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
so
your kind of movies for sure.
Yes, let's not forget that It's Me, Billy, chapter 1 and 2 were 40-minute movies and 22-page scripts. So, you have to keep that. Again, it's not a hard and fast rule, right? It all depends on how much action you have on a page, and action, I mean, in terms of just the action lines, not boom, boom, bang, bang. And so, yes, I wouldn't say the first page is a minute. But it's probably, a few minutes probably, but yeah, it was great to hear that. And I haven't posted that on social media anywhere. So that's an exclusive first of somebody who's an industry professional working here in Toronto who just read the first page. And I've since sent him the script because this is like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I've since sent him the script, and I've sent it to a few people who are reading it. And, but so hopefully he does like the rest of the script.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, that'd be nice.
But it'd be nice. He comes back and goes, yeah, that thing I said a couple of weeks ago. The script is not that great.